On the 6th of May this year, you released a communique, and there was a paragraph in there. The authority noted the introduction of the amendments to the New South Wales Government's Water Management General Regulation 2018, which has important implications for the Basin Plan. The authority reiterated the importance of licensing, measuring and compliance of all forms of water take. And I note that on the 6th of May, the New South Wales Legislative Council disallowed for the second time the amendments. But I'm interested in what the implications for the amendments will have for the Basin Plan, and in particular my own state of South Australia, should they become law.
The authority has for a long time supported the improvements that various states are trying to make to the way in which they estimate, measure, monitor and ensure compliance with water take. And floodplain harvesting is one of those ones which is notoriously hard to estimate, and estimates were made for a variety of different models at the time of which the Basin Plan was created. But the purpose of that communique was to reiterate the authority's position, which is that we would like to see greater measurement, monitoring and regulation of floodplain harvesting or overland flow, as it's called in Queensland. Right at the moment, we're going through the process of accrediting New South Wales water resource plans. All of the water resource plans for the other jurisdictions have already been accredited. New South Wales is keen to include within its water resource plans its amendment, what it plans to do to bring floodplain harvesting back to previously regulated levels. And so we're trying to send a signal that that's an important activity. What will happen, I don't really know. That's really a matter for the New South Wales Parliament and the New South Wales Government.
But have you done any modelling as a result if that became law?
No, I don't think we've done any modelling of what may or may not happen. The modelling we've done really relates back to the start of the Basin Plan, when we had to come up with estimates of all forms of water take, whether it was out of a river, floodplain harvesting, consumption by forestry plantations and the like. So that modelling is there, and we're hoping to be able to improve on that, but we look forward to New South Wales Government being able to come forward with a regulatory regime that is an improvement on the current system that they have.
Should I, as a South Australian, be concerned if those regulations came into force?
Going back a little bit, the purpose of the Basin Plan is to reduce the amount of water that's used in consumption to return water to the environment.
Yes.
At the time at which the Basin Plan was created, there was estimates made of how much water is being taken through floodplain harvesting. And so our interest as the MDBA is to make sure that the total level of water take doesn't go up. And so to date, the level of water take through floodplain harvesting has been an estimate and is included in essence some losses. What we're going through the process, or what New South Wales is going through the process, and indeed what Queensland is doing, is bringing that, if you like, unregulated form, trying to bring it into the regulatory framework so that we can count it better and have better estimates. And so our interest is making sure that not just floodplain harvesting, but all forms of take, the measurement of it is improved and the regulation of it is improved over time. So that's our interest. And the water law stands, the Basin Plan stands, that sets a limit about how much water can be taken out of the system, and that's our interest, is making sure that no state exceeds that limit.
So you're looking at it from a point of no state exceeds rather than what state is disadvantaged or may be disadvantaged?
Oh, the whole idea of the Basin Plan right at the start was to set limits in individual catchments, groundwater and surface water, that meant that overall you had a sustainable level of take, because we're interested in making sure that there's sustainable level of take in every valley. And so the Basin Plan does have regard to the fact that there's multiple states involved. But
will I ever know what the authority's view is of the implications of this particular piece of legislation?
Well, I think what you're asking is this particular piece of legislation, regulation that's been put forward as a draft. We don't have
It's been put forward as law and then it was disallowed.
It's been
so
disallowed.
for a moment it was...
There's been regulations in relation to the New South Wales floodplain harvesting that have now been disallowed 3 times. We don't have the resources to model every particular proposed approach. What we're looking for is what will come out of the New South Wales Parliament and, perhaps more importantly, what the New South Wales Government puts into the water resource plans that we have to accredit are consistent with the Basin Plan. We're in the process of doing that and in the process of discussing that with New South Wales officials.
So what does that look like when you're interacting with the New South Wales Government? I mean, do you give them advice? Is there a iterative process between trying to get these water resource plans consistent with the requirements of the Basin Plan?
Has been a really extensive process of interaction with all governments, including the South Australian Government, but also the New South Wales Government, as we've moved forward over the last several years, the last 7 or 8 years, to finalise these water resource plans. There's been active involvement in what's called the assist phase of them bringing forward water resource plans, where we work very closely with all of the state officials, and that's been enormously productive as we've got a better understanding of what their law means and they've got a better understanding of what the Basin Plan requires. So there's been active engagement on a whole range of fronts, assistance with modelling, assistance with understanding the law, assistance with understanding how protection is given to environmental water and the like. There's a large array of areas of cooperation.
Well, the ones that have been produced...
Senator McLaughlin, sorry, this is the end of your time. If this is your final question, please.
It is my final
Thank
question. How would I work out, for those plans that have been produced, how they're inconsistent with the plan? Is there a document I can see where the authority reconciles the inconsistency with the intentions of the plan? Or is this all done government to authority?
At the moment, it's officials to officials. I might stand corrected on this, but at the moment we don't publish that. We provide to in this case, the New South Wales Government, our concerns about where we believe the plan is. Their proposed plans are inconsistent with the Basin Plan, and that's an iterative process that's been going on for quite some time. What our process is we have to either. Our role is to recommend to the Commonwealth Water Minister whether a plan should be accredited or not. If we get a plan that ultimately New South Wales submits a plan that is not accredited, it doesn't meet the standards of the Basin Plan, we would recommend to the Water Minister that it not be accredited.
But nothing's gone to the Minister yet, has it?
You're
still on a dialogue basis.
We're still working through and have been, as we did with the other states. It takes a couple of years to go through this process.